Two Beards Talk, where thought lives and dies.
So George, who are you?
First, we should explain who the heck you are.
I think we should go with you first.
All right. Well, I am George, part of the wonderful duo at Two Beards Talk, and
Let's call you the Big Beard. You're the
Beard?
Big Beard.
All right. We'll call it. I'll be Crazy Beard
There you go.
because that makes a lot more sense, especially when you see it. It's like a majestic crazy beard.
Yeah, we'll go with Crazy Beard. Majestic is a little bit much.
Wow. Why not? You don't like the majesty of it?
If by majesty you mean slight squirrel's nest and possible fire hazard, then yeah, it's majestic.
No,
I would like to see it burning.
You know, due to my line of work, it actually has turned into almost a fire hazard. You know, because basically installing garage doors, when you screw into certain things, you have metal shavings going everywhere, and actually, can get quite interesting.
Okay, do you know why I've kept my beard a little shorter over the years, especially on the sides?
Oh, I can guess from experience of that. You tend to deal with a lot of things getting in it, and trying to get stuff out of it is a little bit of a...
That's not it.
Well,
It's carrying big springs on my shoulder. Pinch and pull. Also, if I grind toward me, burning hair smell.
Yeah, okay. That grinding. That's another wonderful tool of I don't even know what to call that. It's wonderful. A lot of burning hair smells.
Okay, so we know what you do. You install garage doors.
Yes.
You've been doing it, about a year now? Almost a year?
I think we're going up on a year right now.
Yeah. And what'd you do before that?
Oh, that's the wonderful thing. Spent about 10 years working in a pharmacy.
So you went from pharmacy
Yes.
to installing garage doors.
Yes.
How does that happen?
Midlife crisis, I would say. I started a little
Wait, how old are you?
30.
That's not a midlife crisis. George is only going to live to about 45.
Yeah. Well, I like to end it, just soon. Once you outlive your usefulness, you just kind of go gracefully.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Well, I too install garage doors. I've been doing it for 3 years. Before that, windows and doors, bunch of different construction. Yeah. It's been a ride.
Yeah, but who are you?
Who are you? Who am I? So I'm Todd. I'm the short beard. Totally lost what we were talking about there. So I'm the shorter beard, the red beard. I'm the better brother. I mean the other brother.
Well, that's debatable. We could get different opinions in here, but I don't think that would be the most family-friendly thing that we could probably do.
Oh, that would not be family-friendly. So what type of things do you like to do?
How to put this in one category? Basically anything that is electronic is the easiest way to explain it. Technology, video games, and a lot of video games, I would definitely say, and collecting.
Okay, so the cool thing, I think, about your video games is you're not tied to the current thing.
No.
You have a crap ton of systems.
Yeah, basically anything from the original Nintendo forward, because anything before that, you're looking at like one pixel on a massive screen, and what is that? But that's about it.
That's called a Commodore 64. What do you mean?
Well,
you know that's going to come at one day.
Yes.
So, other than gaming and garage doors, what are your hobbies, interests? What holds your time? What piques your interest?
What piques my interest? That's the interesting thing. Haha. that was dumb. But let's say just like the most basic thing is like news. Just keeping up with everything because of
I get what you're saying.
Sanity.
I'm the same way. So I'm a consumer of information. I like to know current events. I like to know what's going on. Listen to podcasts. Listen to talk radio. Not always what you would think I'd be listening to. I listen to
what you should be listening to.
That is also true. I'm not tied to any one thing. I just like to consume information. I also am a gun nut. That might piss some people off, but it's who I am. Deal with it. I like to build ARs. Love to shoot. Used to shoot competition. That didn't really pan out.
Well, very well.
Well, it doesn't jive well with a lot of work hours.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've gone into 70-hour weeks when you don't really have time to do anything after that.
No. That's why it's easy to with like news and consumer, consuming a lot of stuff like that. You can do it as you're working, and it's kind of almost passive at that point when you're just kind of looking for something to keep your brain going as you're doing something that doesn't need a lot of brain.
See, I'm the opposite. I slow down so bad if I listen to podcasts while I work. I can't do it.
But here's one on the other side when you're already so slow to begin with. It's really hard to slow down even farther. So it's almost like a motivation to keep you going through the day, because sometimes you put on a podcast or just something like that, and before you know it, bam, your install is done, and then you're working on the next. So you're on that next job, and before you even know it. So for me, it just keeps my mind off of that, and also just keeps my ears protected from very loud sounds.
That's true. I have not ever been one to use hearing protection.
Yeah, that's why I scream halfway across the house.
As I move into an audio-centric style of hobby with a podcast, where ears are very important. I'm just glad I haven't lost a lot of the different ranges of sound. Mm-hmm. I've been real lucky.
Much like everything in life, it's probably going to catch up to us.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
When it's way too late, you'd be like, hey, we should have done something 10 years ago. And you look back at it like 10 years ago. I don't care.
I mean, I've been, this cough, Corona. I've been
instantly dates the video. We know exactly when it happened and where it happened.
Possible guess. Who do you think might join us on this?
Oh, about half the family. But that's to be seen, because how many of actual would want to be on recording, or how many would actually have anything good to say?
Well, that's the thing. I think it's going to be hard to get people to join in structure.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So what are we going to cover in this podcast? I have notes here that cover a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're going to cover just about everything under the sun, hopefully in either a vaguely sarcastic tone or a vaguely sarcastic tone is the general gist of it. And
So is there any subject that's off limits?
Yeah, stuff that will get us demonetized. I think that's generally the idea.
Why does everybody say demonetized? Demonetizing, it's a podcast.
Yeah.
So there really isn't any subject, in my opinion, that I won't touch on. Politics, technology, religion, science, constitution and civics, industry, economics. I mean, I'll touch on any subject. I have a mediocre knowledge of all of them, but...
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Pretty much. It served me really well, though. I've known people that have been well-versed in a lot of those subjects. And
you've known CEOs to homeless people, and all the way in between.
Now, I was the homeless person. I've seen how policy can affect a person, affect their life, affect their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in the system. Seen how hard it is to break out of that system once you're in it. Especially, I mean, once you're gotten to a point where you're dependent on that system, it's hard to break out of a system that forces you to be uncomfortable, forces you to be comfortable.
Yeah, especially in uncomfortable situations when you don't necessarily want that comfort level.
Nobody wants to be uncomfortable.
No.
Unless you want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Later in my life, I've wanted to be more uncomfortable to stretch who I am, learn who I am, and try to be a better version of me.
You got to figure out your limits and know where everything is, and if you never push yourself in situations where you could potentially be uncomfortable, then you'll never know who or what you actually are.
Yep.
It's always a good motto to live by. It's one of those things that sounds really good. You could put on the side of like a shirt or on a mug or a coaster for future reference.
I mean, basically, if you guys don't get it, we'll talk about anything. If you guys have subjects that get real popular and want to talk about, we'll touch on them. Nothing's off limits. Nothing illegal, though.
Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, as long as it doesn't involve us doing anything illegal. But
I mean, well, it's like Glenn Beck has always said. There are many things that I believe that I will not say, but I will never say the things that I don't believe. I will never touch on that or say things or endorse something that I don't believe in, but I'm never going to say everything that I believe. There's
always that I wouldn't say forbidden knowledge or that hidden self that is something where not too many people will ever see, and it's not something that everyone wants to always blast out there on full tilt.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of respect. Respect my limits. I'll respect yours.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not comfortable with something, you shouldn't be forced into saying it or dealing with it before you're ready.
Exactly.
So
I think the biggest thing is we'll always try to put a slightly comedic slant on everything, but we'll always try to do it in the most respectful way that we could possibly do, within the confines of our own humanity, and then that's always the biggest problem right there. We're only human.
Yep, and we touched on religion a little bit as a subject that we'll talk about. George and I were both raised Christian, born again.
That's going to be an interesting subject, I'll tell you that. A lot of devil's advocates in there.
We don't really follow it now, but I would still consider myself one who leans towards Christianity for my moral compass.
That's a nice, I would say, diplomatic way of putting it.
That's a way of saying I'm a heathen, but I still believe in the Bible.
Yeah.
So when it comes to religion, that's where I come from. I have tried to learn about other religions over the years. I like to know why someone believes what they believe, and I challenge people at times to tell me why they believe what they believe, because if you can't defend yourself in what you believe, then why do you believe that? You don't even know why you believe it. That becomes autonomy, and you're not contributing or gaining a better version of yourself if you just follow something because your parents did or because society says you should. So that's where I come from. That's where I look at religion from.
Yeah, and it's always good when you're coming in from more of an outsider's perspective, that if you can articulate exactly what your belief is and everything that you stand for, it always puts everyone in a better spot. Because especially when everyone's a child, why can't I do this? And someone says because, no one ever takes that as anything. So when you actually come and says, all right, for this, and this reason, it always puts you in a better spot of where you can defend your position from.
Absolutely. It was never, and I was guilty of this when my kids were young, of telling them they couldn't do something or telling them that we had this rule because I said so. That is I hate that saying. Now that I'm more mature and honestly, I wish I could have raised my kids with the knowledge I have now, rather than what I was dealing with as knowledge at 18 or 20 or 25.
Yeah, that's one of the that's opening up Pandora's box, because that's
my point
that
is
one.
My point is
Yeah,
that
yeah. Put that.
I don't want to go
topic for
down
another
there,
day
but
pile.
my point is that we learn more and we're a better person, or at least we should try to be a better person as we age. It doesn't happen for everybody. Some people aren't intellectually honest with themselves enough to be able to grow.
I think if you hold the same platform or ideology for 40, 50, 60 years without allowing anything to change your mind or even update your worldview based off of that, that's when stuff starts to get a little
Racist? Yeah.
I
was going to go there.
I wouldn't say racist.
Come on, if you're raised as a racist and you stay a racist for 40 years, no one's going to change your mind about being a racist.
No, but that's those situations of where you should have the honesty with yourself once you form an idea and that becomes part of you, that if it turns to be a very, very bad toxic idea, you should have the honesty with yourself and be like, all right, this didn't work.
Like polygamy.
We're starting hitting the high notes right off the bat.
No, I'm just playing. Uh,
I mean, don't knock until you try it. That's what I always say. I mean,
first of all, I had trouble with having one wife. There's no way in hell I'd want to.
see, that's what you should have done. You should have split your time and then have the wives interact, and then, so you wouldn't have to have the whole thing.
They would have figured out that they didn't need me, and I would have been out right away.
Exactly. Then everything would have been solved a lot quicker.
There's no doubt there. In case you don't get it, we're going to be sarcastic as hell. We'll be serious at times. If people don't get it, we may have to put a
Large
sound
sarcasm
or
warning.
something in when we're being sarcastic. It's sometimes people don't understand sarcasm, but understand that's where we're coming from. A lot of our crazy off-wind ideas are going to be ideas that are based in sarcasm, and we don't really mean it. I mean, we play the lines really well, and they're very blurred in a lot of our humor.
Yeah, that's a very...
If you get offended by it, you know what? I can't control your offense. I'm sorry for any future offense because I'm going to offend people.
Yes.
But
I think
understand that if I meet a person, I don't judge them. If we haven't met, and if I'm playing stereotypes, it's basically a way to take the seriousness out of the subject so that we can talk about it. Once you deflate the seriousness of it, people are more honest about the subject, and it becomes less of an emotional experience.
Yeah, because that's one thing that I know in my experience, and I've shared a lot with the experience with Todd as well, of if you can at least try to get someone to break out of their angry, serious bubble even a little bit, it's a lot easier to have a more personal conversation with them, and then get that person to realize that, hey, I'm not just attacking you from a point of like malice. That you're actually
I'm attacking you from a point of facts.
Well, facts, or at least that I'm trying to treat you like a human being, and it's one of those things where it's 100 times easier to have a human-to-human conversation and just not throwing facts, statistics, and thoughts and stuff out.
It's an easier way to break down walls.
Yeah.
Humor is used, and when it's used properly, and I know there's philosophers that say humor is a scapegoat, but humor, when used correctly, is a way to break down a person's walls and get to them, get to understand them, see where their limits are. I think I use humor a lot in that way, just to break through the walls and get to somebody that I need to talk to. Or blunt. I've been completely blunt with people. When I was in youth ministry, I've broken fights up by simply stepping between the two people fighting, and nothing stops a fight faster than a 300-pound white guy stepping between a couple black kids. And, it's not a race thing, but it's a shocking thing. They were shocked by the action. So I was able to get to them immediately. And I was able to have a conversation with them that I would not have been able to have without breaking their anger immediately. So there's ways to use. I probably should have put that crap on silent. Here I am. Rookie podcast moment. Rookie podcast moment.
That is going to be a new thing. That is going to be the next person who has their cell phone goes off edits the video or the recording. that should be the punishment.
You know damn well I'm going to be editing every video then.
Oh
man, that was terrible.
Popular.
So
probably work related, to be honest.
So what's your goal with the podcast?
The ultimate, evil genius thing is to get my ideas out there and wonder if they're actually any good, or if I'm just a crazy homeless man that just has no idea what he's talking about. That's
that's what the beard says.
Yes, but that's kind of my, I guess, ultimate goal, to just kind of see where this thing goes, ride it out.
I mean, at its core, it's to communicate ideas and thoughts in an entertaining way. I want to entertain people. I want to force them to think. I want them to react. I really want them to look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
But if not, tell me we suck. Tell me how we can get better.
Mm-hmm.
We're not closed off to ideas, and we don't get offended easy. So if we suck, just tell us we suck.
Yep. I mean, that's the easiest thing. If if we can at least make you feel one thing in about an hour, or however long we're gonna actually talk for, because who knows, some of these might ramble on for a little while. If we can make you feel one thing, then I would say job well done, regardless of quality or if this is actually any good in the end.
Hell, we may have to shoot for quantity instead of quality. Who knows? We might suck ass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, swear jar.
Yep. That's what it'll be. It'll like throw as much crap as we can against the wall, and hopefully something will stick. Yeah.
Note to self:
Don't
shut off sleep on the computer. We almost just lost this.
That would have been bad.
Note to self too: I have a technology degree. I should probably have thought about that ahead of time.
You know what's funny? That's once we should go for background about what we actually were doing. You always see the fact of, all right, I go to college, and this is exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. When I first started in high school, we had a trade school that we could go to for half of our year, or for half of our schedule. So I was originally going to be an auto mechanic. And then as a large guy, when I was in high school, I figured out real quick that if you're a large person working on small cars and you don't have a driver's license, it's impossible to do that job. And then it skipped on that I was going to try to do IT. And then in the mean of getting that degree, I had failed out because apparently it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. And then I had moved over to pharmacy. And pharmacy worked for about 10 years and then went over to garage doors. So that's where if you look at your life now and wonder if this is going to be the thing for you, you will never know. But if you don't try anything new, then you'll also never know as well. So don't ever get stuck to one idea, because you'll never, ever be keeping that same job forever.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there about college being completely useless and worthless.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Sarcasm inserted there. My daughter is about to graduate med school. Without any graduation, thank you, Corona. We don't get to go see her. That's a whole other subject. But same thing. You know, I believe there's things that you need to go to college for: doctor, lawyer, engineer. Then there's things that we go to college for. Yeah, I know. I saw the face. I saw this. So if you didn't see the face, which you didn't, because I'm not rolling camera right now, George winced pretty crazy about engineer.
Throw some interesting.
And it's mainly because
I was going to throw some interesting college degrees out there, but I decided to hold my tongue on that.
No, we'll stay away from all of the liberal arts.
Yes. Well, not okay. That's the funny thing, is not all the liberal arts are actually bad, because they have a lot of art, actual legitimate art degrees and stuff that are classified as liberal arts.
Okay. I'm going to go down this trail a little bit.
Yes.
So you go to school for, let's say, painting.
Yes.
That you would say that's an acceptable liberal arts degree.
100%.
Okay. What is a requirement for you to get into a painting school, or a class that focuses on painting?
I would think there'd be some type of natural ability.
So you have to already be a freaking painter.
Not necessarily.
No, I know where you're going, and I know what you're saying, but this one we're not going to agree on.
No.
Picasso didn't go to school.
But also, they did not have any schooling at that point. But if you look at film is a great thing, because you can have certain techniques and technologies that you would not be accessible to you in a non-school setting. And once film school has gotten to the point it is now, the people that are coming out of schools are actually technically better from the point of view of how films
I see what you're saying.
made.
So it's getting you from point A to point B quicker.
Yes.
So you're not going through the growing pains of
how to
failing
Yes.
as much as you would, say, if you had just tried it on your own.
Correct. You're failing. You're still failing, and at a rate that you would still be doing, but you're failing in an environment where you're not being penalized as much as, okay, if I fail to do this, then I don't eat.
But okay, I see what you're saying. However, if I go to school, then I don't eat, because that crap's expensive.
But that's not the failure of the
It's the
degree
failure of the
itself.
school.
That's the failure of the system.
So, yes, okay. So there's degrees that could be better utilized, provided a better system.
But if you have theory anywhere in your degree name, then no.
I don't know. Astronomical theory.
What did you actually just say?
I have no idea.
Astronomical theory. The big theory of everything?
There you go. Stephen Hawking's degree.
Oh, gosh. You know, I'm pretty sure that was a science degree.
It was.
Yeah.
We might differ a little bit on this one.
Nothing about Stephen Hawking. We're going to be even talking.
Just so you know, I did see the movie, so I'm a Stephen Hawking expert. Obviously, because watching a movie makes you an expert. I've also been to the moon on Apollo 13.
Marion, yeah. See, now it's going to be the inside jokes that, like, 6 people are going to understand. 2 people are going to want to kill somebody. Me and my sister.
Oh, my God. I might have been obsessed with that movie and watched it, 3 to 5 times a week for a solid year.
This is one thing that's going to date us a little bit. He actually broke the VHS tape.
I did several times.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple copies of it because I would continue to break the tape.
The worst thing is my parents bought him another one.
We're not going to go there. My parents were not the smartest bunch when it came to reinforcing activities.
Yes. Well, they can't do too bad. All of us survived.
Not with my help. But yeah, so I do see that schooling is important. I, too, went to college, tried a couple different things. Went to trade school as well. Same trade school George did, a couple years ahead of him. Mm-hmm. Found out really quickly that I'm not the student type. So being required to learn something that I thought I already had a decent handle on was not motivation enough to keep me in high school. No. Not at all. So I dropped out. There's a long story there, but I dropped out basically in 10th grade. I stopped going to school, went and took my GED, scored pretty high. Just by default of having my primary education outside of the state of Florida. And then went to school for drafting at one point. I don't even know if you knew that.
Wow, yeah, because I remember you had all that fancy drafting table.
Went to school for drafting for a semester and realized that neither was I in a point in my life where I would apply myself to learn drafting, nor did I understand the amount of work that it took to draw buildings. I thought it was going to be simple. So I dropped that pretty quick and went back to work. The market crashed. Went and found another job. Market stayed down, got laid off, and went to technical school. Went to become a network administrator. And after 2 years and several tens of thousands of dollars, I figured out that I didn't want to be in an office.
That's
an expensive lesson to learn that something that you liked as a hobby, you would never be good at as a career because you just didn't want to make it a career.
You know, I think that's one thing that dealing with the IT field of the work itself doesn't kill the motivation, and I know a lot of people, as soon as I mention this, like it's the fact of dealing with the customer side of it, and having to deal with the tech support makes you just want to. How to put this in the most pleasant way possible? Use a pillow to smother them. Because how is that pleasant?
How is that a pleasant way? How at all is that the pleasant way to state that?
That's the most pleasant and diplomatic way that I can think of. Because it's one thing of trying to tell somebody to turn their system off to try to have something either take an update or do something that they should have already done every day, and you know they've been having the computer on for about 6 months, and then having them say I already did it.
Now, just so you know, if you don't restart your computer once a week, you're an idiot.
Yes.
Literally, you lose memory. There's memory black holes in computers where systems turn on and shut off, and chunks of RAM are lost, and you end up using a crap ton of memory, and you don't even know why. It's probably not even doing anything. And the same can be said about downloading coupon browsers, which are the most malware-infested things on the planet. Most of the computers I have to clean out are because of malware in the browser. Literally, stop going to coupon sites. Okay,
Yes.
my tangent's done.
Yeah. But dealing with that, it's like you already know that when you walk in, you're going to have this set of things you're going to have to deal with, and you know for a fact it's going to be 3 times longer because the person either A, doesn't know what they're doing, actively works against you, and they get angry at you, and it's just like that dichotomy just gets you.
But isn't that the price to pay to move up in that field?
Yes.
And shouldn't you be willing to pay it?
But that's where it separates the people who are not cut out for it, and by the time you actually get up to like a level 3 or a system administrator, they are hardened to that, and those are almost the cream of the crop because you have such a hard, fast cutoff when you're just level 1, bottom of the barrel. You'll find out real quick.
Now, mind you guys, the reason that I did not get into IT was the pay cut I would have to take to enter the field. And at the time, it was drastic. I could probably enter it now without a drastic difference, but it would. It's not anything I want to do now. I'm pleasant where I'm at. I don't even know what kind of English that was. I'm comfortable where I'm at.
It's that United States English that we got here. So,
That US of A. Don't tread on me because I don't bother to learn English. So it's not that I wouldn't be willing to. I just don't have that drive to take that hit for however many years it would have to be to get to where I'm at now. And I basically everything that I learned when I was in school is obsolete now. I'd have to go take certifications, and I've never been one to test well. Like I can orally test amazing.
Yeah.
But you put a piece of paper in front of me, and I can't keep my attention. It's probably a little bit of ADD in there, but I can't keep my attention long enough to complete a test like that. Last test I took, interesting fact, was my ham radio test.
Oh, I saw him do that.
Scored amazingly on it to get my technician license, but the general license scares me because there's more questions, so I haven't taken it yet.
You know, the funny thing is I'm the exact opposite. I don't know if it's because being the youngest, you just have a lot more crap you have to deal with, so you know.
What crap?
Maybe what crap? Yeah, okay, that's going to be like the big 4-hour podcast of having to deal with what crap we're talking about. But that's going to be a topic for another day because that's a rabbit hole that we can't go down right now.
I don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh,
I protected their lives like a baby wombat.
Yeah, like you're the baby wombat, and you're trying to protect the other baby wombats. Yeah. What happened? He got stepped on. Why? You're supposed to be watching out for him, but he got stepped on too.
So entertaining. We want to be entertaining. We want to communicate ideas and thoughts, and basically want to leave you thinking. If at the end of our podcast we've left you thinking about the subject or thinking about your life or thinking that
I should never have clicked on this podcast.
Hey, you should never have clicked on the podcast.
That's a thought that I'll take.
Don't come back as long as you sign up for the RSS feed.
That's fine.
So that's basically who we are. Todd, Shortbeard, George, Longbeard. We're brothers.
And we're sorry.
That should be our sign off. And we're sorry.
Yeah. Well, I guess enjoy the rest of the day that you have left and hope it's a pleasant one.
All right. Buy some t-shirts. We don't have yet.
Go to show.com.
Go to twobeardstalk.com.